Hello everyone, welcome to the channel again. We're going to be doing a review today of the Podium Racing F1 wheel from Fanatec. It's the DD1. It's one of their top of the line wheelbases with wheel, and this one's for the PlayStation. It's the PlayStation version. Also works with PC. We got sent this by one of our supporters, which was extremely kind of him. He said we could do a review of it and then just send it in when we're finished, which is exactly what we did. So here we go, unboxing time. Let's get involved. It's going to be a quick review, nothing that you've probably not already seen, but I just wanted to do a sort of man of the people review. So obviously I won't be covering a lot of technical stuff with this wheel, because that's not how I roll yet anyway. In the meantime, let's get this shiny box out. So as you can see, lovely looking F1 wheel there. Nice looking box. Let's get it unlocked, shall we, and get this baby off. These locks are very good actually, very good design. Also very stiff, I noticed. Look at that, took a lot of effort, but we got there in the end. Right, let's get this off. Come on. Come on. Come on. Da-da. Look at that. Now that's a sexy piece of kit. Admittedly, this is not a cheap unit, but equally, it doesn't look cheap neither, does it? No, it doesn't. So as you can tell, it's all buttoned up for the PlayStation. Quick release. It's a beast of a thing. I think the actual main unit, just the base itself, is around 7 kilos, I think. So it's a bit of a hefty number. But yeah, oh god, we need to get it out of the box and see what we get with it. Let's have a look. So we get the wheel, we get the base, obviously we get the power supply, we got an extra set of buttons, USB cables, and the RJ45 connection. I think you can use for your pedals and stuff like that. It doesn't come with pedals, this set. You have to get your own. It's not like the DD Pro. It's not like a complete unit in that way. But yeah, all these buttons can be customized. There's a locking nut there for the quick release to stop it from knocking. You will find that out later on in the video, so make sure you carry on watching. In the meantime, if you're liking the video so far, please consider giving us a subscribe on the channel and smash the like button. Costs you nothing, but it helps us out a lot. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs. So that's our mission so far. I think we need about 400 and then we'll be there. So every little helps. Here are all the connections on the back. Power supply, USB to the actual console or PC, whichever one you wish. And then an arse load of different connectors for shifters, pedals, handbrakes. The torque key slot was there as well. The torque key is to unleash the full 20 Newton meters of this wheel. Why anyone would want to actually drive it with 20 Newton meters is way beyond me. We have done a 20 Newton meter challenge video, which I shall put up in the next week or so. So when it comes to the base of the DD1, it's a bit of a monster, but that's a good thing. The unit itself weighs 10 kilos. Or 9.9 kilos it was when I put it on the scale, so it's a bit of a heavy bugger to say the least, but it's a fine looking piece of kit, has to be said. The bone of contention, which is this, the quick release system for the Podium. As you saw before, the quick release system is a bit of a faff, and considering the DD Pro has more or less nailed it in terms of hot swapping, the Podium requires you to do a couple more things in order to be ready to race. You can hot swap just like the DD Pro, but there is a bit of an issue, and I shall show you right now what that is. Okay, so this is the wheel that comes with the Podium DD1 in the bundle for the PS4 stroke PS5, because it does work with PS5, because that's what we're using on. what can I say about this wheel? Well, it looks really nice, as I'm sure you can agree. I don't actually mind this blue theme, it looks quite nice. The buttons feel really nice to press, they're not too easy to press but not too hard. The switches feel really switchy, which I quite like. The toddles in the center here people normally moan about because they feel a bit loose and but I quite like that. It reminds me of an old Ford Escort race car or something. I quite like it, so I like the way they feel. LCD in the middle, 1 inch. All your LEDs for the top sides can be assigned depending on the sim that you're racing. Obviously this one's a PlayStation wheel, so it's going to be working with Gran Turismo amongst other things, so a set of Corsair will be able to take full advantage of all the switches. Mr. Gran Turismo does not. No idea why, but there you go. Can't have everything, can you? It has motors in the grips, which is turned on and you can feel in Gran Turismo 7. I'm sure you can feel it in Sport as well. I've not tried it in there yet, but I'm sure it's possible. They have these little toddle switches here that everyone's been moaning about. They're too easy to touch and flip if you've got them assigned to something. This could be easily solved by Fanatec. I don't know why they've not done it already, but they could just make them a little bit stiffer and maybe having, instead of doing such a short throw to the next click, they could do it that much, so it's 2 clicks more rather than just 1 click, and make them a bit stiffer, and I think that would solve the problem. Paddles feel really nice to pull, they're not too noisy. I think you'd agree, that's quite nice, quite a satisfying thud. But onto the complaints of this wheel, and I do have complaints about this wheel. First thing is, it's not wide enough. I need it to be another 4mm wider, and it would suit me down to the ground. Obviously, the width of it depends on the individual using it, so it's open to interpretation of who's going to be using it, obviously. But for me, it's just not, the wheel's just not wide enough. It's too thin. Not so much that I could get around that, I suppose, if it was the only wheel I had, not a problem. But this next one is a major complaint from me, and that's the way the Alcantara meets the plastic housing here. It's super sharp, so I don't think you'd be able to use this wheel for any length of time without gloves. Also, the gloves will stop the Alcantara from getting full of hand juice, which if you're not bothered about that, then that's fine. But in terms of getting blisters on your thumbs, this is going to have an effect, and I can't believe it's gone through quality control and this has not been found. It's exactly where your thumb sits. If you like running any sort of semi-strong force feedback, your thumb is going to be raw after about 10 to 20 minutes of heavy racing, because you're constantly doing this. It's constantly moving over this ridge, sharp ridge on both sides, and it's off-putting. It distracts you from the game and what you're doing, because obviously the pain's getting involved in the whole thing. So on that front, nah, not for me. Would I use this wheel if I had a choice of another? Well, I have 2 wheels I could choose from, and I would rather use both of them than this. I love the switch gear and everything else about it, and I wish it was on one of the other wheels I own. That would be perfect for me. But for the sake of being comfortable and not having to think about what I'm having hold of and how it's feeling in my hands, I just want to be able to grab it and forget about it, other than just concentrate on steering, making sure I can feel what's going on the road. I don't want to have to feel like my thumb's hurting, the wheel's giving me hand cramp because it's too narrow, all of that jargon. But obviously aesthetically wise, it looks the business. It absolutely does look the business. But my personal choice would not be this wheel. I would not use it personally. The McLaren GT3 V2 is much more comfortable. It's a wider wheel. All right, it's not got all the functionality buttons that this has. but it's only missing a few things. It's not missing everything. We have one toggle switch on the McLaren. The second one's not there. It doesn't have the option to have the Podium module paddles, but other than that, it's you know, it's a good wheel, and it's more or less got all the functionality that this one's got. But I'd even use the original stock GT DD Pro wheel that came with my DD Pro. I'd rather use that than this because it's comfortable and it does the job. So as far as I'm concerned, the wheel, a bit of a failure for me. I wanted to really like it because I love the look of it, but it just doesn't fit in my hands properly. It doesn't ergonomically fit me, and for that reason I'm out. Everybody's built differently. You might love it. If you're buying the Podium, if you have a chance to go and have a hold of this wheel just to try it out first before you buy, I suggest you go and do so. Leave a comment in the comments about whether you own this particular wheel itself, or the 2.5 in general, because it's the same wheel, and how you get on with it in terms of how comfortable it is, blah blah blah. Let us know, because you like I said, this is just my personal thoughts on this wheel, and I just don't like it. Simple as that. Don't like it. Okay, so this is the only ball ache really regarding the whole DD1. We have like this weird collar system where you tighten this up, and this part here is rubber, and what you do is when you tighten it up, it squeezes the rubber and pushes the rubber out, which secures the wheel. All well and good. People have got different ways to do this. Some tighten it up a little bit first and then stick the wheel on, like so. It's locked into place, and then they tighten it up a little bit more just so the wheel's nice and solid. But there is play. Look, there's up and down play there when I'm doing this and this and that, so there is play. And then you can hear there's no knock, but slacken it off a bit, there's a knock. So it needs to be tightened up right, and just so you're not getting the knock anymore. Still a bit of knock. You don't actually get completely rid of it. Then they're suggesting that you put the locking nut in, which is totally fine, but having this lock nut in actually defeats the purpose of it being quick release. That means you've got to have this handy on your rig at some point at all costs if you want a quick release to something else. But does it get rid of the knock? Yes, it does. Does it get rid of the knock if I undo it? Yes, it does. So then you don't need to do it as tight. So just nip it up a little bit and you're good to go. But it's no longer quick release. I can't just go, oh, I want to change my wheel. No, got to undo this, flip the unit, get your Allen key out, flip it out, pull it off, put your next wheel on, start again. This is how long it's going to take each time to swap your wheel. Obviously you'll become a bit of a dab hand at it at some point. There we go, and we're good to go. But we still have side to side flex, which is, the up and down flex is not so bad actually. It seems to have eliminated that, but there's definitely side to side flex. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's definitely moving. So other than that, very small complaints though. Okay, so the bread and butter of why you buy this thing is to race. So what does it feel like? I'm going to compare it to my DD Pro at 8 Newton meters. So I've set the DD1 to 8 Newton meters, and can I feel any difference? Absolutely not. No, I can't feel any difference. It's exactly the same. Smooth. The feedback is exactly the same. Everything feels the same. It's exactly the same at 8 Newton meters. But is the DD1 worth £500 more than the DD Pro? I don't think it is, no. I think for the extra Newton meters, £500 is a lot of money to spend on a base unit that's only giving you more resistance in the wheel, because everything else is the same. Feedback amount, how the feedback feels, it's all the same. It's just turned up to 11, literally, on the DD1. And you'd never, ever race your DD1 on 20 Newton meters. It's full capacity. It's just too hard. You barely get 3 laps out the way before you're sweating your knickers off. If I had £1,500 to spend, and I didn't have a wheel, I didn't have a Pro, anything else coming from, like, say, a G29 or whatever, which one would I get? Me personally, I'd get the DD Pro and get a different wheel, or maybe 2 wheels. There's a lot of money difference between the two. If you want to be top trumps in, then DD1. Spend your money on the DD1, but bear in mind that it's £1,500 just for the base and the wheel. That's not including any pedals. So if you include a set of E3s, that's another £300 to £400 on top of that. So now we're encroaching into the 2K area, and it is definitely not worth 2K over the DD Pro base set, which is like £700 I think it is at the moment, £699. Plus, I do think the Fanatec are going to bring out a new DD Pro. It might be a Pro Plus or something like that, which I think will be 15 Newton meters or somewhere around there, 14, 15 Newton meters, which I think would be a sweet spot for the Newton meter war, in terms of, like, you'd never really use 15 Newton meters all the time. You may be an 11, 12 Newton meter person. That might be like the perfect amount of resistance for you. But a lot of us don't play that high. We're all in the between the 6 and 8 mark. So you'd be paying a lot of money if you bought the DD1 for the extra power that you'd never use, other than you once, doing a 20 Newton meter challenge, which we have done, by the way. I will post that video next week. So yeah, I think that's where we're at. My apologies to Mark, who's purchased this particular DD1 and has let us review. He did go from a DD Pro though, so he's gone DD Pro to DD1. So he will have known the difference as soon as he got it back and hooked it up. But I'm sure he loves it. He's got it all stickered up, and I don't think he's regretting his purchase at all, which is a great thing. But again, it's a personal preference thing. I think if you've got the money to burn, then go for it, why not? But if you're being more strategic with your money and you still had £1,500 to spend, I would definitely just get a DD Pro and a different wheel. Or maybe not a wheel, just get the DD Pro with a set of V3 pedals with the dampening kit. I think that'd be money better spent. So that's the end of the video, as it's the end of the race. Hit me up in the comments, let me know your thoughts. Please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs, and I shall see you on the next video. Bye for now.